guys, last week on my Christmas Again vlog, I told you guys I'd do a Q&A. I asked you to leave your comments and questions below, and then I would do a whole video on answering them, and that is exactly what I'm going to do for you today. Also, if you guys are interested in seeing a second Q&A, be sure to leave all of your questions for the next one in this video, so then I can refer back to it when I am looking for questions to answer for that Q&A. And if you don't want to see one of these ever again, then tell me. But you guys left really, really good questions on this vlog. Some of them are so good, they almost warrant their own video. So I'm going to do my best not to make this video like 5 hours long and answer them as concisely as possible. Okay, so the first question, and a lot of people ask this, is how did you get into keto/low carb, and how long have you been doing it? Is it for health purposes or weight loss? When I was in high school, I was on the swim team and the diving team, and I shattered my ankle one year, and it never fully healed, thanks to my little brother who kicked me while I was down, quite literally, in a cast. So it totally didn't heal right, and I kind of suffered with it all through college. I couldn't run. Every time I tried to run, it would give out. So I ended up having ankle surgery. I had full ankle reconstruction in 2009, and because of that surgery, I was on the couch for long periods of time because I was on crutches. So basically, I couldn't even walk like the first few weeks, and I sat on the couch and watched Netflix. I literally binge watched, I believe it was Lost, for like 2 weeks. I got through every single season. So if that doesn't tell you why I gained weight, then I don't know what would. So I got to my heaviest weight I had ever been in my life, and I was kind of looking for a way to lose that, obviously. I ended up resorting to a low-carb diet. When I first started out, I just cut out bread and wheat and grains. I was still eating like beans and corn and stuff like that, and I was losing weight, but not how I wanted to, not as fast as I wanted to. I wasn't counting calories or anything like that. I just pretty much cut out all heavy carbs, sugar, things like that. A lot of people thought it was weird. People tend to think that low-carb diets are against the grain, but it was working for me, and I really liked it. Kind of transitioned to other things from there, which I will get to later in other questions. It was obviously for weight loss. And then the other question that this girl had was, is Jungle Gyms worth the trip from Columbus? And this is also answering the what state are you from? I'm from Ohio. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we have this grocery store called Jungle Gyms, which was in one of my vlogs. And somebody asked me, who lives 2 hours away in Columbus, Ohio, if it's worth the trip down. I say if you have the Saturday afternoon to spend 2 hours driving to and from, it's definitely a neat thing to see. I wouldn't say that it's worth the trip like weekly, but maybe once, just to check it out. They have a lot of really cool stuff that you wouldn't see other places, not things that you would necessarily want to buy. For example, there's like an ostrich egg there usually that they sell, and it's about the size of my head, and it's $40. So I've never bought one, but they're cool to see. So they have a lot of neat stuff. You plan on doing low carb until your goal weight is reached, or maintaining it as a lifestyle? What are your thoughts on paleo? Also, I noticed that you work out a lot, but your carb intake is still fairly low. What are your thoughts on upping carbs when working out? This is a really good question, and it's actually something I wanted to address for a while, and I'm kind of gonna answer all these questions in one big spiel. So here's my carb view. Carbs are not evil. Sorry, all of you people who are like super strict low carb. Trust me, when I started out, I was crazy strict low carb. Like, I was afraid to death of carbs. I thought that I would eat an apple and blow up like a balloon, which wasn't the case. What I'm about to say is just my opinion. This is what works for me and what I've seen work for people around me. Everybody has different needs, and everybody takes to carbs differently. With that being said, I think that if you work out very hard and you lift weights, there are places and times for carbohydrate. Currently, I do carb cycle. What this means, for me at least, is that around my heavy lifting days, I eat carbs. Squat and deadlift day usually are the days that I try to incorporate my carbs. A lot of people might call this carb backloading or refeeding, or I mean, there's a million different terms, and there's a bunch of different ways to use them. I think carbs are okay if you use them as a tool to aid in muscle gain or weight loss. I don't think that they're okay to just eat aimlessly because you want to. If you use them specifically for a reason, there is definitely a place and time for them. With that being said, I don't think people that have a lot of weight to lose need carbs. So this is for the people that have, you know, maybe 5 or 10 pounds or are maintaining and trying to put on some muscle. Not for the people that are obese or severely overweight that have a lot of weight to lose. I don't think that you need to incorporate carbs into your diet. That's just my opinion. So if you are an athlete or you lift really hard a couple days a week, I think that carb cycling can be beneficial. So for example, today I'm actually deadlifting and my diet's going to look very, very different than it does 5 days a week. 5 days a week, I eat very low carb. I try to stay under 50 grams net carbs while still getting my fiber in. But on days that I do heavy lifts, I like to keep my fat very, very low and keep my carbs semi-high. And I say semi-high because they're not like crazy. I don't go like 300, 400 grams. It's like 150, maybe 200 if I'm eating a lot of fruit. And I don't really want to get into the science behind it because that is a whole nother video. That's a long spiel. But after a heavy lift, I will eat carbs, like I said, especially complex carbs. I don't like to eat straight up sugar unless it's fruit. Complex carbs tend to be very emotional. So things like Ezekiel bread, rice, brown or white is fine, sweet potatoes, even white potatoes, and I kind of stay away from like the white stuff, but I would eat sweet potatoes, brown rice, and maybe like quinoa, but nothing with a high fat percentage. This is also like a whole nother video, but you need to either eat high carb, very low fat, high fat, very low carb. You cannot mix the two. That's why things like pizza with cheese and bread are so detrimental to your health. Cake with sugar and butter, cookies, things like that. Things with high fat, high carb percentages that are together are very, very detrimental to weight loss and health, and the list goes on and on. So like I said, on my days that I eat high carb, I eat very, very low fat, and I cycle that around my heavy lifts. So I hope that that answers your question. And then about if I'm planning on doing it as a lifestyle or as a goal is reached, I never plan on stopping manipulating macronutrients for my benefit. So when I say that, what I mean is I always will track my food, I believe. As of right now, I don't see me ever stopping doing that. And I like to use food as a tool. I will always have low carb days. And whether those are 7 days a week or 5 days a week or 3 days a week, or whatever it may be, I don't ever see me aimlessly eating. So yes, I definitely say it's more of a lifestyle choice, not something with an ending point. How long have you been doing low carb? So like I said, I had ankle surgery in 2009 and I started doing it a little bit after that. So it's 2015 right now, that's crazy. About 7 years off and on and in different variances. Any advice on developing a beginner lifting routine for a male? So my beginner lifting advice is not male or female specific. It's very gender neutral. If you're planning on getting into the gym and lifting for the first time, my advice to you is this. Know the compound movements and do the compound movements. So we're talking squats, deadlift, bench, and row. I don't think benching is super necessary when you're trying to lose weight, but if you're just looking for a lifting routine to tone up or gain muscle, you might want to incorporate a bench day or a chest day. Make sure that you know the correct form for all of these. Please do not go into the gym blindly and try to deadlift. You will hurt yourself. So either find somebody who knows what they're doing. I hate to recommend watching YouTube videos, but if you have no other resource, there are some good people on YouTube, and I'll link some of my favorites below that really know what they're talking about, in my opinion. And if you just kind of segment out your days and have a compound movement each day, and then maybe do some accessory work with that movement on that day, then I think you'll be in a really good starting place. A couple people asked what I do for work, and this is actually a really timely question. I'm sure you asked this because you see that I film kind of in the middle of the day, and I have a lot of time to edit videos, so it's a good question. And right now I work from home for a very large grocery store, and I do online work for them. And my ending date there is actually January 16th because I have a start date for a new job, which is January 19th, and I will be the Cincinnati metro area healthy eating specialist for Whole Foods markets. And I'm so excited about that. It's the opportunity to really do what I love and make a living off of it. I'm lucky enough to be helping people make decisions about healthy eating and hopefully really making an impact on the community when it comes to healthy eating. And maybe I'll be able to film a little bit. I don't really know how they feel about that yet, so I'll see what I can get on camera and what I can't. At least I will be vlogging like my work meals and like how to pack work meals. If you guys want to see that, let me know. So that's all the questions that I have for you guys. Thank you so much for all of your amazing questions. I really hope that you're satisfied with my answers. Like I said, if you have any other questions for me, make sure to leave them in the comments below and I will get to them at my next Q&A. Don't forget to find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so that you can get all of the updates of my new videos. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye. I feel like I am glaring into the sun. I am so not used to having to use a fluorescent light in this room. I usually tape during the daylight, but it is so early in the morning it's not even light outside yet, because that's the only time I had to get this video done. You're welcome. Rexy, say some for the fishes. So on my days that eat like the little pale lunch boxes, they don't do it for me. I need like a suitcase. So I filmed a brown or right.